right, let's get into the deep dive. Today we're looking at the pre-market. And honestly, it's showing this really interesting split. We're calling it a barbell market.
Yeah, a barbell. It's a good way to put it.
Like a tug of war.
Yeah.
Strong forces pulling in opposite ways.
Yeah.
So our goal here is to pull out the key bits from your pre-market brief, help you make sense of it all before the bell rings.
Exactly. And that barbell idea, it really captures the mood. You've got strength on one side, think blue chips, value stocks, healthcare especially is looking quite strong.
Okay.
But then the other side, real pressure. Especially on tech stocks. And underneath all that, there's this constant hum of macroeconomic tension, mostly swirling around the Fed.
Okay, so let's unpack that divergence. How are we actually seeing this barbell play out? Like in the index futures this morning, why is the Dow up when the NASDAQ seems, well, weaker?
It's pretty stark, actually. The Dow Jones futures, they're up quite a bit. But here's the thing, it's almost all because United Health, UNH, a huge surge there.
Just one stock moving the average that much.
Pretty much. It's what people call the Buffett effect. Berkshire Hathaway revealed they bought a new stake, like $1.6 billion worth. That gets attention.
Right, a big vote of confidence.
Definitely. But then you look at the NASDAQ 100, the tech side, it's lagging. And the main culprit is Applied Materials, AMAT. They're down sharply, maybe 14%.
Ouch. What happened there?
Well, they actually beat on earnings per share, but their forward guidance was cautious, surprisingly so. And the market just seized on that.
So it highlights this rotation.
Absolutely. It's a powerful theme right now. You see capital moving, almost rushing out of maybe more speculative growth tech and into stuff perceived as, safer defensive value.
So these big single stock moves, UNH up, AMAT down.
Yeah.
They're symptoms, right?
Right.
What's the deeper issue, that macro tension you mentioned?
Yeah, connect the dots. Investors are almost desperately clinging to the idea of a Fed rate cut in September. The odds are super high, like 93%, according to the CME Fed Watch tool.
Wow, 93%. That's conviction.
It is. But here's the rub. The recent economic data isn't really playing ball. Inflation, like the Producer Price Index, came in hotter than expected. Retail sales are holding up surprisingly well.
So the data contradicts the rate cut hope.
Sort of, yeah. It creates this disconnect, this tension, which makes Jerome Powell's speech later this week at Jackson Hole absolutely critical. Everyone's waiting to see how he addresses this.
Right. If he sounds hawkish, leans against that rate cut expectation.
Exactly. That could really shake things up. You could see a pretty significant negative reaction across risk assets, not just tech.
Okay, so that's the U.S. picture. What about globally? Is this just a U.S. thing? Or are other markets seeing similar push and pull dynamics?
It's actually quite different elsewhere, which is interesting in itself. Overnight, Asian markets were really strong.
Oh, really?
Yeah, China's Shanghai Composite hit a 10-year high. Seems like stimulus hopes and low rates are doing the trick there. India also rallied hard on some proposed tax reforms.
So strength in Asia. What about Europe?
Europe was more cautious this morning. They seem more focused on geopolitical stuff, like the Russia-Ukraine situation. So you've got this policy divergence globally.
Which could mean capital starts moving around.
Could definitely signal a strategic shift, yeah. Money might flow towards regions with, let's say, clearer policy support or growth stories.
Okay, this is where it gets fascinating for me, the individual company stories. You mentioned UNH and AMAT, but who else is making waves this morning? These big movers you flagged.
Oh, there are some dramatic ones. They really highlight how selective this market is.
Yeah.
Beyond United Health's jump, you've got Propanc, Biopharma, PPCB.
Who've you heard of them?
Well, they exploded, up over 250%.
250? What on earth?
Yeah, they got uplisted to the NASDAQ and announced a public offering. Huge reaction. Then there's Tonix Pharmaceuticals, TNXP, up about 13%. They got FDA approval for Tondemai.
What's that?
It's actually the first new therapy for fibromyalgia in over 15 years, so a real medical step forward.
Okay, so some huge winners. What about the downside?
Painful downside, too. TPI Composites, TPIC, they just collapsed. Down 54%.
54. Why?
Chapter 11 bankruptcy filing. They're being delisted from the NASDAQ, and they basically told shareholders straight up, expect nothing. Zero distribution likely.
Wow. So the highs are high and the lows are brutal.
Precisely. It shows that the underlying story for each company matters immensely right now. Good news gets massively rewarded. Bad news gets absolutely punished.
Okay, so as we're getting closer to the opening bell, this deep dive really paints a picture of a market wrestling with itself.
Yeah.
You've got value versus tech, the Fed looming large, global money potentially shifting.
For sure. Today's trading is going to give us some important clues. Can the Dow's strength spread out? How does tech really react under pressure? Do bond yields or the dollar make a decisive move? These are the questions.
So wrapping this up for you listening, what's the takeaway? It's a reminder, I think, that even when we talk about the market, it's often driven by these specific stories, these individual catalysts hitting up against the big macro trends.
Yeah.
So maybe think about how understanding this specific barbell dynamic, this tension, might influence how you look at investments, or even just how you consume financial news this week. Something to keep in mind as you navigate what's ahead.